Sex workers aren't going to accidentally go up to their relative's hotel room like in the movies. Sex workers of Reddit, have any of you ever have a close friend or anyone you normally interact with daily be a surprise customer? What was the experience like, and how did it affect your interactions with them? Hey man, so happy to see you joined me for another story time. It's been so long, or not, depending if you're binging through the channels. Since you're here, why not subscribe and like the video so you don't miss any more story times with Andrew? If you do, I'll clear your student loan debt. Anyways, let's get into the stories. I was a stripper back in the day. Halfway through a stage show realized that my flatmate's brother and his friends were there. That's how I was outed, lol. Nothing much changed. We surprised a friend from university that was working at a strip club to pay for her studies. She just noticed us, winked at us and did her show as usual. Zero ducks of any kind were given by anyone. I had a classmate who was a stripper, and she was very open about loving it when people she knew came to see her at work and let her dance for them. She thought it was intimate in a fun, friendly way. Not a sex worker, but delivered a pizza to a known sex worker, and at the same moment I was about to knock on the door, a relative opens the door and watches me holding the pizza up to him. I couldn't do anything but laugh. He laughed too, maybe out of embarrassment, and as soon as the sex worker understood what was going on, she also started laughing. Never mentioned this moment to anyone who knows my relative. And he is grateful for that to this day. I was not a sex worker at all, but I was a fine art model for a college for a while. There were so many people that I went to high school with that entered those classes over the 2 years I worked there. Usually they wouldn't say anything and I wouldn't say anything, and I would just get naked and pose for 3 hours lol. Sometimes we would chat after, but sometimes we would ignore each other and pretend it didn't happen. Not a worker though. Funny story, one night my best mate was in town, lived in another state, used to live here. We went out clubbing and eventually decided to go to the strippers. Pay our money, and as we enter my friend notices a stripper laying on her back spread eagle for a guy. Highly drunk he yells out, "Hell yeah, how good is this?" The stripper hears and notices my friend, sits up and yells, "What are you doing in here?" My friend instantly went and sat in the corner proper embarrassed. Turns out it was his cousin. I'm a stripper. My friend's dad came in. I hadn't seen him or my friend since high school. I accidentally asked him for a lap dance before I could tell who it was. He said no and I realized who it was as I walked away. He came in a few more times and avoided eye contact with me. When I was on stage he would look away. Another story. My first day as a stripper I saw 2 guys from my high school. We chatted, then they both paid for lap dances. When I was a cam girl I would have many guys message me saying they were my cousin or something. They were not, just trying to play out a fetish, and I wasn't into it. So then one day a guy, in the main chat, said that he knew me, and his name was AJ, fake name. I was like, yeah right, I've only ever known one AJ, if it's true what's my name? And sure enough he put my real first name right there in the chat. We were in youth group in church together almost a decade before that. He became a regular. There was a girl I went to high school with who was basically a walking stereotype. She fit so well into the archetypal ditzy blonde mold that you might swear it was an act if you didn't know better. She was also ducking mean. This girl was a power bitch and wasn't really nice to anybody as far as I'm able to remember. People orbited her because she was hot and had everything. She never really bothered me because I did my best to be invisible, but the handful of interactions I ever had with her left me feeling unpleasant. Turns out she wound up being a pretty lucrative stripper later in life. I bought a lap dance from her, and while being nice is part of the job, it really did feel like in those brief few minutes that she did have a genuine personality shift. She was way more laid back, you could even hear it in her voice. She even commented about how she wasn't a bitch like I used to be, and I have nicer tits. It was a genuinely fun interaction. She seemed happier in comparison to the person I remembered. My much younger brother was getting married, had a bachelor party at a strip club with a dozen or so high school friends. After about an hour there, a rather ordinary-looking stripper comes on stage, takes off her top, and our tables of guys goes wild, standing and applauding and hollering. I have no idea what is going on. The stripper looks through the stage lights, her eyes get really big, she grabs her top and runs off stage to the back. Bouncers come running over to our table, thinking we're starting trouble. Nope, it turns out all of the guys in his high school class had a history class with her a few years back. She later came out and talked with us, said she never thought she'd see someone, let alone 12, she knew it was in the next town over. Last semester I ran a massage service, and I had this one client I particularly liked because he was so friendly, positive, and just smart as duck. I never asked my clients for their last names or too much about what they did for work, and the only thing I really knew about this guy was that he was in a STEM field. Well, fast forward to one existential crisis and a college major change later, and this semester I have to take chemistry. Lo and behold, that really smart client is now my professor. Neither of us is currently acknowledging it, but I can tell that we still feel that bit of connection we did when he would come see me for massages. Edit. It was a massage, regardless of whether I'm a licensed professional. Giving someone a HJ after working out their pain, tension, knots, etc. for an hour doesn't mean you didn't massage them. I sympathize for those who are victims of sexual assault and harassment. I faced the same sort of things with my business, and that's never okay, but massage therapy is and probably always will be associated with sex work, and people who engage in either endeavor should be aware of the risks involved. The people who conduct sexual assault against other people are responsible, not me or anyone else who does sex work. I am not going to call my service just a handjob service or whatever else people want me to say, because a massage service is the most accurate phrasing for the operation I was running. I did not at any time claim to be a licensed professional, and I was always honest with clients about it. Yes, I am aware that it's illegal. Also, for the sake of massage therapists, please do not assume they're sex workers. Kinda, sorta along the same lines I guess. Once a friend wanted me to go to a strip club with him located outside a small town in Alabama. A young, really young, looking girl got on the stage and he told me, "Look at her. Isn't she the prettiest thing you've ever seen?" I said, "Yeah, but she seems like she's too young to be working here." "Don't worry, she's 18. "How do you know?" I asked. "She's my niece." I felt uncomfortable after that. Up here. And wow. Just wow. I was not expecting my post to get as much attention as it did. As a matter of fact, I thought it was such a throwaway comment that it didn't occur to me to even follow up on it. But to address all the comments and messages I've gotten because of it. It happened in a small club way out in the county outside a town named Harvest, Alabama. I don't know why it's so important to folks to know that unless they are expecting to go there and see the girl for themselves. Fat chance of that happening. It was about 10 years ago, so I seriously doubt she would still be there. Another thing, so many are casting doubt about his character or the nature of his relationship with the girl. Trust me, his tone was that of a proud uncle, not a dirty, lusty one. You would have to know the area. Meth and opioids have decimated rural Alabama to the point that it's refreshing to find a young person that is healthy and making an honest living. Besides that, I had known him for years. You will not find a more religious, God-fearing person. In the mid-90s, my friends took me to a strip club for my bachelor party. A few cocktails and a few stage shows in and out walks an ex-girlfriend of mine. She was stunningly beautiful, but bat crap crazy. My friends desperately tried to get her to give me a lap dance, offering her 5x the normal rate, but she refused. She said it would be too much of an emotional strain for her, considering how intense our relationship was, and ended. She ended up sitting with us between her floor shows and lap dances, just chatting. She had gotten actually married, and this was a way for her and her husband to save for a house. About halfway through the evening, one of the other dancers grabbed me and pulled me up on stage, whispered into my ear, "Are you wearing underwear?" Which I affirmed. She pulled my pants down, sat me on a chair mid-stage, and another girl loosely tied my hands behind my back. Each girl took turns giving me a lap dance up on the stage. Turns out my ex paid them all for a lap dance and arranged the entire thing. Funny end to the story, after that event I was at work on the sales floor of a local big box retail chain working, and in walks my ex. We chatted and half a good laugh. My lunch came and I went out into the mall towards the food court, and my ex comes up besides me with a bit of a panicked look in her eye. She slides her arm under mine and leans in and kisses me on the cheek saying, "Let's go get that hot dog now." Befuddled, I walk with her towards the food court, and she proceeds to tell me one of her regulars was in the mall and he was stalking her. She told him she was married and he didn't believe her, so I got to play the part of her husband. I walked her out to her car after the hot dog and a leisurely chat to make sure she was safe and never heard from her again. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.